We are very happy to welcome attorney Liane Fisher to our show, and we're going to be talking about employment law. Welcome, Liane. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
How did you get into doing what it is that you do?
So right out of law school, I actually practiced in a completely different area. I practiced criminal defense, which was wonderful and gratifying and fun and salacious at times. But very quickly, I learned that it was an area of law that lacked predictability. And, I'd be doing night arraignments on a Saturday night, which I did not enjoy doing. And upon having a family, I needed some more predictability in my life. And so I transitioned into the area of employment law, which is a wonderful area of civil law as opposed to criminal, but has a lot of similar sort of ties in terms of the in terms of how it's very gratifying because you're helping people. It's not just ambulance chasing. You're helping people with very, very emotional issues, and it's an incredibly gratifying experience to practice in this field.
And sometimes you work on the defendant side, but for most of the part, you're on the plaintiff side. So somebody's coming to you and they've had discrimination, they've had a sexual harassment case. What are some of the types of cases that you handle? Are there other areas of employment law, or are those your specialties?
So we practice exclusively in the area of employment law. That is my firm,
Okay.
My partner and I and a few attorneys that we work with. Which pretty much encompasses all things employment related with a few exceptions, but yes, discrimination, sexual harassment, overtime type of claims, breach of contract claims, restrictive covenants, various employment related issues. The exceptions are actually things like unemployment law, which
Okay.
we don't do.
Okay.
Workers' comp and a couple of other things.
But when that happens, if you find that somebody comes to you and you're like, well, we don't really specialize in that, but we have a friend that does, you're happy to refer them and get them in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely.
So if anybody
Absolutely.
were to have some type of a law issue, they could contact you.
Correct.
Do you provide like a first-time consultation with somebody? Do you welcome them into your office so you can kind of get a nice rapport for them?
Absolutely. So we don't charge for initial consultation, but we spend whatever time is necessary to ascertain whether or not a legal claim exists and to allow the client to relay whatever necessary facts are at play, and then we determine whether or not we're able to help them. And like you said, if we're not able to, we know there's another attorney out there that they might benefit from meeting with, we'll refer them out.
Now, statute of limitations means you need to bring, if you've got a case, you got to bring it to somebody's awareness within a certain time in certain areas of the law. Is employment law the same way?
Yes.
So if you've been sexually harassed, you can't wait 20 years and say, back when I was 17, this happened, right?
Right.
Okay, so there are windows for certain things. So if you even think you might have a case, that's the time to call.
Correct.
Okay.
So, there is the statute of limitations in New York is you have a decent amount of time to bring
Okay.
a claim. And under New York City and state law, you have about 3 years. Under federal law, you have about 300 days from the time of an action, an adverse employment action, to bring a claim. So there's enough time, I think, after something arises for an individual to go to an attorney and vet whether or not they have a case. Most people call me pretty quickly.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a very emotionally ridden area of law. So people come to me. I have many boxes of tissues in my office. But yeah, people are going through a difficult time and they seek help pretty quickly. And then we often will start off with a demand letter as opposed to just taking a case to court.
Okay.
And so we try to negotiate, depending on the circumstances. It's often much better for a client to negotiate rather than embarking on a very lengthy litigation.
And you'll help them do that.
Of
So
course.
you're not the type of attorney that says, oh, I see dollar signs, I'm going to just milk this client for all they're worth. You're
at
there
all.
to truly help them.
Absolutely, and do whatever's necessary to get them to a better place.
When you first started winning cases for your clients, how did that personally feel for you and your team?
Amazing. And there's many circumstances, or many situations rather, that I can think of, where I felt really good about how I helped somebody. But there's one case in particular. It was one of my earlier cases when I started practicing on my own, representing plaintiffs. And that involved a 32-year-old who was diagnosed with cancer. And the day that she was going out for a double mastectomy, she got terminated. And we ended up having to file suit because the employer didn't negotiate with us. They refused. And years later, after a lot of emotional toll and a lot of expenses and time, they ended up caving and we ended up settling, and we did really well for her. And ultimately, she reached out to me to tell me that the money, her winnings from the settlement, helped her to buy a house for her family.
Oh,
so it
wow.
was, yeah,
Peace
it was
of mind
huge.
and security for them.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I mean, to be able to lose a job at any time is uncomfortable, you know, for whatever reason. But then to lose a job unjustly
Correct.
is even more so horrible.
Correct.
And that's what you do. You go in to make things right,
Yeah.
or the best you can.
Right.
Okay.
Precisely.
Okay. And how can people reach out to you? Do you suggest that they come into your office and talk to you and your team, or by phone, or?
The best way
Okay.
is on my website, so
Okay.
they can reach out to me. It's www.fishertaubenfeld.com. There's a form they can fill out, and they can reach me directly through that. They can also call us at 212-571-0700, and I'd be happy to help.
And you're very good too about anonymity. So like, you know, sometimes, a lot of times, clients are afraid to bring a case because they're not sure it's such a big case, or like you said, it's very emotional for them, and they might not want to have the shame or anything like that. But I know one thing that your law firm does is that you respect your clients, and you work with them, and you handhold them every step of the way.
Correct.
So, and I
Yeah.
congratulate you on that, because
Thank
not
you.
every attorney does that.
Thank
so
you.
you're doing good work, Liane.
Thank you.
Please, if you do feel that you are in need, or family members in need of some help or some legal counsel, Liane Fisher is the place to go. She and her wonderful team are the place. Thanks for watching Live It Up. We wish you well.